Barry, welcome back. So, we just actually had you on prior and we talked about what the problem was, or, you gave us your, philosophy, and I completely agree. I really want to focus this part of this conversation and tailor it towards the solution and what you can do, or what we all can do in order to remedy this. So I just want to give a little bit more background on Barry once again. He was born in north of Saskatchewan, Canada, an 8-hour drive straight north of Billings, Montana. He's a father of 2 girls, a businessman, and a certified professional co-active coach. He was a professional hunting guide and outfitter for 33 years in the Canadian North, and now occupies his time bringing something meaningful to people's emotional lives, including mine, okay? Barry is a passionate advocate for emotional health and knows from the inside this thing I've come to call depression, and in his own words, was blessed with a nervous breakdown. He says he lost a war with his nervous system and its emotional messengers, and wanted a life full of things he loves. So I do recommend, if you didn't see the prior episode, go and see the prior episode where we were talking about some of the problems. And so now we're going to focus on what some of the solutions are that Barry can actually help us all with. So Barry, welcome back to the show. And I just want to understand what you are actually offering or could offer us all in order to, solve this inner, depression or hurt or something that's unhealthy.
Yeah, so thank you, Gina. So if the problem is this sea of people who are disconnected from other people and the community they're in, then I see the solution as for them to be connected to the community they're in and with other people. So it's almost that simple, but it's not that easy to do. So the question is, how can we efficiently move people from being dislocated energetically and emotionally to finding themselves properly located in a relationship and in a community? I would argue that a lot of our current approaches where we've medicalized this problem, pharmaceutical remedies, they're not really solving the problem for us.
Yeah.
I think we need to do more. I think we need to find something that is affordable. Not everyone can afford a $500 an hour therapist. Just can't. It's not a realistic solution. It needs to be potent. We need something that really works. So when our people spend $10, they get $10 in return. We need that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And we need it to be universally available. So no matter where anybody is in the world, you can live in where I come from, northern Saskatchewan, in downtown LA, it doesn't matter. You can get online and be part of something and start moving ahead, start getting more and more what you want, less what you don't want. So, I started off as a coach, and the people I was working with, they were all really struggling with the same thing. When it boiled down to, all their problems were sort of related to the way they connect with other people. So I said, well, why don't I just create an experience where we do it all together and see how that works? So we did that. I did that for 3 years. We call it the pod process. And all a pod process, or a pod is a group of people who want to get more of what they want, less of what they don't want, emotionally and relationally. And they're willing to commit for, let's say, 3 months. Once a week for 3 months, an hour and a half, 2-hour call. That's all it is. And the pod process then would be a facilitator sufficiently skilled and aligned relationally and emotionally that they can keep the call lively. And what do I mean by lively? A lot of people don't know what I mean there. So lively means that we will go where we need to go so that our members get what they need. Okay?
Yeah.
Sometimes where we need to go, often where we need to go, it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So this is the tricky part. So most people, as soon as they get some discomfort, like, whoa, buddy, there's something going on in here and I'm bailing, they will never get to where it is they need to go. So it's really important that a community knows and understands that the gold is always under the dragon. You never shoot the dragon. You never run away from the dragon until you get the gold.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then it gets easy, because if we are afraid of the things we love and we steer away because we're uncomfortable, we'll never get the things we love, just the way it is.
Yeah. It's almost like a war, like between like.
It's, yeah, except remember what Nelson Mandela told us about the warrior. He talked about the fallibility of the combatant. This is not a war to win. This is more like Gandhi's approach. This is a surrender.
I see, yes.
Yeah, it is a surrender. So we don't make wrong the dragons and the saboteur in our community. We embrace them. We bring them in. We pour them a cup of coffee and they sit there beside us. We actually put them in our board of directors. Mm. But what we do not do is let them call all the shots. Mm-hmm. 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 We collectively, we check in with each other, but then we also look for our CEO, which is our sage. And that's when we know when people are there in our community, when they just glow and when they sink into, they say a lot in a little bit, and there's just this power about them. So once we know it's the difference between somebody driving their life from a saboteur, fear-based place and someone who's driving from the sage perspective is night and day. Mm-hmm. It's the sage converts everything that comes at us as opportunity.
Yes.
The saboteur interprets only the way things are as the right way. Mm-hmm. It doesn't want us to change at all. Mm-hmm. So you see this tension between these two things. And I'm speaking to them as if they are separate entities. They're just a part of us. But we find it helpful to verbalize them and put some labels on them so we actually understand their function.
I see.
Yeah. So we're not haunted by other beings, but there's an aspect of ourself that wants us to have what we love, and there's an aspect of ourselves who's willing for us to forgo what it is we want to keep us safe and to keep it the way it is.
Yeah. No, I like that. And so on the prior episode, the prior show, we talked a little bit about how an angry man, that the mass shootings and things like that. Can you kind of talk about that problem again and match it with how this could actually solve that, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, to me, it's really quite simple.
It is, but it was in a different show. And so
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, but
I want to highlight a point as well. So we tend to, as a society, we tend to confuse difficulty or discomfort with complexity. Mm-hmm. Do you see the discernment there? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I think the problem is not a complex problem. That doesn't make it easy.
Yeah.
Nor does it make doing some of the work comfortable.
Right.
Brené Brown tells us you can either be comfortable or you can be courageous. You can't be both, so just pick, right? Yeah. Okay. By the way.
Can you repeat that? That's a mouthful right there. I'm sorry. Please say that.
Yeah, well, she's that rock star from Texas. Her name's Brené Brown, and she says, yes, you can be courageous, you can be comfortable or you can be courageous, but you can't be both. You cannot. Yes. So, and another thing, I mean, before her, Aristotle said the virtue that makes all other virtues possible is courage. There is no virtue in the world, no virtue humanity without courage. And that was before Christ walked the earth. So this is not news.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So back to this problem. So yes, if you have a society where increasingly, and that's the problem with our market-driven society, it's not the problem necessarily with the market itself, but that we have a problem with people who are, in some ways, they're flying blind.
Mm-hmm.
They do not know how to connect, and no one knows how to reach them. So they just go off and do their thing. They are lost. They're like, I don't know what metaphor we'd use, but and I guess that's really not a problem to you if you live in a nice little bubble and life works. But if your daughter is married to one of these people, or if this is an employee,
Right.
now it's your problem.
It's sad. I've seen those types of people. I mean, I'm very it's a cultural thing for me. It's easy to connect to people, right? But I see some people that it's not as innate, and I feel very sorry for them to not have that ability to connect, because I can't live without a connection. I die. I get very depressed.
Yeah. Well, that's because you're human.
Sorry. Yeah, and honestly, it's funny because I think all of the internet, like, we've created a society that's like, we're not, we're doing social media and all of this stuff. No one is really talking to one another. We don't have communities.
We call that doing lonely together.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm really, really excited about participating in the pod myself, because I need that community. I'm single. I live in Los Angeles today, and it's hard to find that community, especially with the traffic and the lack of mobility here. So let's continue on. So I understand that you're going to be hosting an event on November 23rd that my audience could watch virtually. Can you talk a little bit about that? Tell me about the event and what are your objectives for the event? I am going to participate in that event. It's right before Thanksgiving here, and your Thanksgiving is when? Before ours. Does everyone know that Canada has a Thanksgiving? Barry, why don't you kind of talk about your Thanksgiving and your event?
Okay, yeah, our Thanksgiving is just a month earlier than yours. So
Yeah.
ours is usually late October. No, mid-October or so. And yours is usually the fourth Thursday in November.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. But to the event. So yes, our event, so rather than write a book and just talk about theories and what we think is the problem or whatever, we're going to go one step further. We're going to go, well, this is what we're going to do, what we think people need to do to solve the problem.
Yep.
So it's a difference between theory and action.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love it.
So yeah, we have a beautiful venue rented in downtown Vancouver, and we're gonna have a physical audience, and then we're gonna stream it out to a virtual audience anywhere in the world. We are going to discuss what we think we have learned about emotional and relational life over the last 3-4 years, and why we think it matters. And we'll open up to Q&A, and then I want to do 3 things. I want to create a pod of participants who are starting fresh, just like all our people start. And I want them to commit for 6 months. And then as soon as they are comfortable, and what we usually find, it takes 2 to 3 months before they go, okay, now we're willing to let other people come in and have a look and see how this works. So I want to create some pods of participants, and then I want to create a community of observers. So people who have read all the self-help books, and they read it all, but nothing's changing, and they still don't know if they want to be a participant. I want to create an opportunity where they can see what it is the pod is doing. So that they'd be like someone over Gina's shoulder.
Nice.
Watching her for once Gina is ready, Like it might be 3 months before you say, I'm okay, I'm ready now to let somebody sort of observe how I'm getting better.
Wow.
We don't do anything without permission, nothing.
Wow.
There are no tyrants in our community.
Wonderful.
Our world is full of rules and behavioral protocols. We don't need any more. There are enough rules out there. So, so we're going to create a participant pod for demonstration, and of course other pods too, because we're thinking that it's time for the business community and the loved ones of addicted and to create all these specific pods with specific themes. So observers, participants, and then I want to create a community of facilitators themselves so that they can help us tweak this thing in real time. So it's like the engineers driving around in a Tesla and redesigning it while it's going down the road at 60 miles an hour. That's what I want to do.
I see. Interesting. Yeah. So, Barry, this is great. And the timing is wonderful. I mean, it's September now, so we have plenty of time to kind of put this on our calendar. Can you let me know about how long this is? How does one access it? What the price is? Give us a little bit more color. And I don't want to use up too much of your time. So, but I will get this information.
So the event itself is just one evening, one day, but the pod process will be, it actually is an ongoing thing. It really never stops. But for an individual coming in, it's a 3-month minimum commitment.
I see.
You need to get through the resistance, to get to the other side, to get into the sunshine, and deal with this thing we call the saboteur. This is not a 1 or 2 week thing. You need three months. And then at that point, those people decide whether they want to continue or not. It's been my experience that if they're properly facilitated, people just want to keep rolling.
Nice.
On a roll, because there's no end. As we move the needle of emotional and relational competency, people get greedier and greedier and greedier because it transforms their whole lives.
Yeah.
How they relate with their children, how they relate with their employees, how it relates with their financial affairs, because you may not need another $10 million. You maybe just need a really powerful relationship.
Oh my God. Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
I completely agree. After a while,
Yeah, what's the point?
What's the point? Exactly.
So to that, so how long is it? Well, 3 months for sure. But it's been my experience that it just this thing just weaves itself into people's lives. So our current pod meets on a Monday night. Everyone knows that Monday night we're going to be on the pod, and no one has to be there. They just choose to be there.
Yep.
Another thing we do is between the meetings, if things fire up, because what happens is when the imagination and the emotional engine gets fired up, then stuff starts to come. So people share in an email thread between the calls. And sometimes the processing there is just amazing what's going on. Like I can feel it right now on my arms and body where that the email thread itself is a powerful medium for people to explore and experiment with what they're learning.
I'm so excited about this. Me personally, for just a little bit of, I'm going to be vulnerable for those that Barry knows this, but I don't have any family. I was a foster kid. I was abandoned. So the holidays are, that's kind of the worst season for me because of my lack of family. And so I'm really, really looking forward to participating in this community, especially during the holidays myself. How can someone, do you have a website? Do you have a phone? How can someone find out how to actually sign up or enroll, and what's the price? And I don't even know the price. I don't have any idea.
So the website is www.thestep.ca. So THESTEP.ca. STEP, the step.ca, CA for Canada.
Excellent.
And we just take it from there. As far as the cost, I mean, if someone shows up at the physical venue, I think it's $22.50 per ticket. So
You mean less than 20? I didn't get this for less than $25.
well, the event, and then the
The event, and the event is virtual, or is it the event live?
no, that's the event. So people come and sit in a seat in our theater. It costs them $22 for this.
And that's the November 23rd event.
Yeah. And then for us to stream it virtually, right now we're going to charge $5 for a streaming ticket. But if somebody steps up and covers the streaming costs, we'll just stream it for free. That's what we did with the last one. Somebody stepped up, said, hey, this matters to me. I'm covering the streaming costs. They covered it. We streamed it around the world. We had 500 people throughout North America and Europe watching it.
Wow. Well, I have a show, so let's talk about that offline. You know, my technical, I'm not the best. So anyway, Barry and I was DirecTV, but I had I had a big team in the TV business. So when you're no longer in that, you have to do everything yourself. So Barry and I have technical difficulties sometimes. So I would love to help you stream once if I have the capabilities. I don't know, right? We can talk about that offline, if that would be acceptable.
Okay, but specifically to the pods themselves. So I'll be looking for 5 courageous participants to jump in and do a demonstration pod for 6 months. Their cost will be 0.
Gotcha.
It won't cost them anything.
Wow.
And what I want to do is once I need them to sort of show or, start recording where they are at when they start. So let's say, Gina, you started with us on January 1st on a demonstration pod. Then I would have you do a private recording of yourself, talking to yourself about what's going on for you. What's going on for your imagination, and what's going on for you as far as fear and excitement and that sort of stuff, and start capturing some of those. And then as you move along, you'd be doing this at least once a week, if not twice a week, recording yourself. And then we'll start to, at some point, if with your permission, only with your permission, you would then show people how Gina went from stuck to unstuck.
I would be very interested to talk about that. I have to make sure that I can actually do that commitment, but I am very interested in seeing if I could apply to be, one of those people.
Yeah. So that's just this demonstration part. The other part is we can just create very, very, very private pods, and they can be focused. So, for example, the pods that I ran in 2017 were specifically for people with depression itself. These are people who were checking in and out of psych wards between our meetings.
Wow.
Yeah. We call them pit pods because, they know the pit. And so we created 2 of those pods, and then we created a loved one pod for people who are married to or in relationship with someone who's in the pit.
Yes.
So we will do those things, and that'll just be, we will hire facilitators to run them. So there'll be some costs, facilitation costs in conjunction with those, so that they will not be the demonstration pod. They might choose to, at some point, invite people in so they can look and see what's going on. Yeah. But those people, they're just going to hire a facilitator to keep them on track for 3 months or so, and so you see the difference.
Yeah, I see the difference, but I think it's going to be a lot clearer if we could just kind of direct people to your website, because it is a little bit it's not very crystal clear to me, but I kind of understand at a high level. can you repeat the website one more time? Because I don't want to go over our time allotment, and I want to make sure that I'm giving my audience exactly how to get more information so they can participate.
www.thestep.ca. So again, www.thestep.ca.
Oh my God. Barry, thank you immensely. You have been an amazing friend, confidant, man, individual to me for many years. So I want to thank you for our friendship.
It's been my pleasure, Gina.
And I would love to have you back again on my show, either after your pod, and you can kind of tell us exactly how it worked.
For sure. Yeah, and if you ever have, I don't know, if any members of your audience start to generate questions and you'd like to create sort of a Q&A or something, that would be very exciting, because it's one thing to talk about this stuff, it's another thing to do it. So the closer we get to doing what needs to be done, the quicker we're going to solve the problem that's before us.
And we have some major problems, and I think 2020 is really the time for authenticity, clarity, fulfillment, and begin living a real whole life.
Yeah.
And with your help.
Yeah, like the vision I have is that when people go to work in the future, they will feel better for having gone to work. When they come home to their families, they will feel better for having come home to the family. We don't have to be in toleration mode everywhere we go. That makes no sense. That business model has come and is going.
It's gone, yeah. Totally agree. And if you're not, you know, someone asked me, I had a friend named Chuck, and he had asked me, he's like, it seems like you love doing what you do. And I said, I don't know how to do anything I don't love doing. If I don't like doing it, I will just do something different. So that's really important, that we all don't work for money, right?
Yeah, Gina, I only do what I want. I don't do anything I don't want to do anymore.
Me either. I don't either. I've been so blessed my entire life, and I feel sorry for those that don't. So I'm gonna you know, conclude here, Barry. And again, I'm so looking forward to November 23rd. For all of you, make sure to go to the website, and hopefully we'll be on the pod together. All right, Barry, I will talk to you later.
Thanks, Gina. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.